Hello, CSP Hot Hands fans. Brett here. My book, How to Lead What You Should Have Learned in Business School, is officially available for purchase. Those of you who act quickly can get access to the launch price of under $10. If you wait too long, though, and it goes up, I would hate that. Just like you hate it when your customers wait until after the yearly price increase in February to pull the trigger. You can buy it right now at brettleads.com. All I ask is that if you love it, give it a 5-star review after you read it. I've taken my 17 years in the business and broken them into bite-sized snippets. Almost every story and lesson that I share is from my time at Cutco. Whether you're a Hall of Fame CSP, new events team member, or you're a manager, I think you're going to love it. To grab your copy, just go to brettleads.com. That's BRETTLEADS.com. Either way, thanks for being here. Let's start the show. You've openly talked about some pretty, at least with our team, some severe challenges you faced.
I have just been living in survival mode so long because of all the crazy stuff that kept flying at me. I couldn't work hard enough to figure it out. I just remembered to go back to faith, not fear. It's really easy to get into fear mode or scarcity. It's natural. It's what our brains do for survival. So even the bad things are going to lead to great things. Romans 8:28 is an anchor scripture for me, and all the bad things are still going to work for my good. And I have to just trust that. If it's not good yet, I'm just going through it, and I just have to keep taking one step at a time.
If you're listening and you aren't a Jesus lover yet, here's what that means too. When Marisa says everything for your good, that doesn't mean that Marisa gets what she wants all the time. In fact, many times it means she gets the exact opposite, but didn't realize, oh, that's actually what I needed. It's an understanding that I don't control anything. There's something extremely freeing about that. Thanks for joining us on the CSP Hot Hands 60 Minutes of Fire podcast. My name is Brett Wiggins, and I get to serve as your host. So what is a CSP? CSP is a Cutco sales professional. There are a lot of them out there, and they've all got a different answer to the question, why do you sell so much? Our mission is to find out the answer to that question from as many of them as possible. These next 60 minutes are designed for Cutco sales reps who desire to learn from our best in the field. So we interview top sales professionals from around the country with questions provided by their peers to make all that happen. 60 minutes of fire means we get straight to the point. Let's do it. Welcome to CSP Hot Hands, 60 Minutes of Fire. We're at episode number 24. Someone called the Kobe episode. I am so excited for our guest today. I just got to know her a lot better myself this month. Miss Cutco CrossFit herself, Marisa Maher from our Edmond, Oklahoma office, Great Plains Vision and TGP events team. Anytime Marisa references, Marisa with one S, by the way. One S. Anytime she references a resource that's available to us, she's going to share it with me afterwards. So if Marisa got any scripts or anything like that, you're like, ooh, the answer for this is inside of this doc. Just share it with me and I'll share it with them afterwards so we can spend the bulk of our time on the questions our CSP community, the hard-hitting ones they've put together for you. I do want to directly thank those of you who had questions selected for this episode. It would not be very fire without your help. It'd be like doing shows out in the middle of nowhere with no CrossFit gym available, Marisa. Just sad. We had Benji Lehman submit tons of questions, as well as Chelsea McDougal came through getting some selected. So thank you to you both. And don't forget, gang, if you ever want to join us live as we record, like Rob Steiner is today, so you don't have to wait on the episode to launch. Maybe you're in the car on the way to a show or setting up when we're recording. Just email bwiggins@vectormarketing.com. I will send you a calendar invite so you can join us live. Marisa, are you ready to jam?
I am. Can I make it number 24? That was my basketball jersey.
It was meant to be.
It was totally meant to be. And it's my new number on as I'm officially a signed professional athlete as of this week.
Congratulations.
It's number 24.
So since you brought up basketball, I knew about CrossFit. I did not know about basketball. One of the questions I was asked to ask you is, how many CSPs could beat you one-on-one?
Well, I'm rusty. So
Okay, all right.
I trash talked last year. I had never been beaten by like a guy, even one on one in years. Like I would hoop like against men. And then last year we had a challenge and there was a lot of money on the table. And I was very confident I wouldn't lose, but I took too much time off. I have officially switched to a very different
It's
professional sport.
rough. You
So
two different body types, CrossFit and basketball. Yeah.
it took
By the way,
10 years. Yeah.
Rob says Kevin Marr.
Yep. It was Kevin
It
Marr.
was
Kevin
Kevin.
Marr.
Okay.
I like still have wounds about it. I need to go back and shoot around. My shot was off and like the jumping, my calves, and it was like
You were like
slanted.
jumping too high. No,
No, it was just like I didn't have the timing right on
I
stuff.
got
Like
you.
I like a lot of the muscle memory will come back quickly if I went and played and practiced, but I've played maybe twice in the last like 5 to 8 years. I did go pick up a basketball again and go play a couple
Of
times
course you
since
did
then
afterwards. Yeah, of course you
because
did.
I hate losing and I love winning and I'm actually very, very good at one-on-one when my shot is not completely
I just
just
have a feeling you're a box out beast. Like no one's getting a rebound. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we need to see it. Kevin Marr. Where's Kevin from?
Where is Kevin from? I don't know. I
Well,
don't
shout
remember.
out Kevin if you're
Kevin
listening.
gets a shout out.
Congrats
I,
on the dub, but apparently it's not happening again.
yeah, he's playing. He plays like every week, so
Got it.
he's
Okay.
very good. We should do a CrossFit showdown or a grid.
How long have you been selling Cutco, Marissa?
15 years in June.
Oh, awesome. I just found out you branched
Yeah.
back in the day. What does your yearly sales breakdown typically look like now? What percent is at the booth? Any gifting, service, closing gifts, anything like that?
You're actually me really good stats that I should probably keep up with better. I just
You can
work
give me a generalization,
out.
about half or a quarter.
I'm finally the one thing I am like tracking and working on is growing my gifting side.
Love it.
So I'm at what am I updated at? I'm like 100. I was 115 last I looked, but I think I've sold 10K since then. I don't, but I'm like about 55K.
115 on the year so far.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And this is we're March 27th, boys and girls. So
Well, I think that was last week because I sold
okay.
10K too, but
Love it.
I haven't looked at. I've been too busy for
I
this
love
week
it.
to like
Hey,
update. But
if you don't know your numbers because you've been so busy creating the numbers, that's probably a good sign.
it's that time of year. There'll be time. I have times kind of planned where I like
Yeah.
sit down and do more, and then other times where it's kind of
Yeah.
go. So March was a go month. I grew it by like 20 grand compared to like any other time. I used to
Nice.
25 to 31, and I hit 51 this year, so that was really exciting.
That's awesome.
I'm in massive kind of growth, aggressive mode, but I will say the thing I've grown and most proud of is that I'm becoming like I was at 50% gifting layers. So between realtor and business gifts, and then the 50% residential. So that's the main thing I'm focused on growing as far as the layers for the lifestyle I want.
Yeah, for me, if I'm
So
doing really well and then I start looking at my numbers, pumping myself up, that's the pride's before the fall, right? That's when they actually start to dip. So I know it's different for everybody, but for me, I prefer to like just keep focused until that season's over. What other titles do you have in life outside of Cutco? We kind of talked a little bit earlier about business owner situation happening. You got asked to come on another podcast. Sister, anything like that?
yes, I am oldest sister. I have a younger sister, about 2 years younger, and then a brother, 8 years younger.
Nice.
I love them so much. I hope to be auntie soon. I hope, but we'll see.
But I'll make sure they listen to the podcast. We'll sneak it
Right?
in
Yeah.
there.
Be like sneak. It's not anything. I mean, we talk about me being the cool aunt all the time. But we can't wait till that season. But right now, just enjoying sister, daughter, gym co-owner, coach, professional athletes, and then yeah, CSP.
So be honest, I always envisioned owning a gym would be the best built-in excuse to have to work out every day. Do you find it that like that's an added benefit of being co-owner of a gym?
Uh, yes and no. So it's hilarious because since becoming a gym owner, sometimes my personal fitness comes last.
Sure.
It's sometimes very difficult to get in, but you have to still be fit to be the leader at a place like this. So there's this kind of dichotomy there.
Got to keep the main thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait. We're gonna dig more into the co-owning of the gym here in a little bit. What's the last fun thing you did besides slinging blades and lifting weights?
Oh, that's funny. I think just having some meals with my family or friends. Like I just go out. Like I
Dude,
well,
it's
and
the
he
little
was a
things,
good time.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of because my main fun thing I do right now is just spend time in the gym, and it has to do with that typically.
Yeah.
And competing because I love
Well, I
competing.
was just talking to somebody the other day. We've got
Yeah.
a guys goals group chat for some of my local friends, and um, uh, I posted, man, it's crazy how different I feel after I sweat. Like
Yeah.
it's nuts how much clarity I have after I work out. And it's not the end all be all. You obviously have to have other parts of your life that matter as well. But man, it really it's like when I'm tired, if I give energy, I get energy. It's the weirdest, doesn't make sense upside down, right? So
I go to concerts. I do go to a
oh,
decent
love
amount
it.
of music. That's kind of probably
Any
my
upcoming concerts you're excited about?
um I just went to a few, so I don't have anything right now in the schedule, but I am going to do some bachata dancing this weekend. So I
Okay,
dance.
so did you and Olia talk while you were in town? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we've gone out together once, and then I've had another CSP Sam Booth and I went out to bachata during net. It's crazy that they stay open so late so we can make it work. And I was like, I have to have a movement in today, and there was no time to work out because our day went from like 8 a.m. to 10 or 11 p.m. And so
We pack it in at the Cutco
yeah,
conferences. We
we
pack it
did.
in.
So I was so happy to get dancing and moving and
We're like we could
hopefully
pay an extra, $250,000 for an extra day or squeeze it all in till midnight. Let's do that. Which it works. I do want to bring up the fact for those of you watching today and not just listening, I have glasses on, and it is because so I'm going to a concert tonight. I'm not a big concert person, but I'm going to Forrest Frank tonight, which
I love him. He's one of my favorites.
yeah.
His songs have gotten me through some hard times in the last
Dude, he
couple of years.
just his whole story of if you guys don't aren't familiar with Forrest Frank, he's one of the brothers from the group Surfaces that sing Glass Animals. It's got one of like billions of plays on Spotify, and he went his own way, and then over the course of a couple albums, just went full worship artist, and holy cow, I'm fired up. But I think it was like the combo of I right now my ebook is currently under review. I have an author copy of the paperback coming and the concert, and we have our opening day summer kickoff this weekend. So I think my brain was just like, "You're not sleeping." I'm wearing glasses because the eyes are hurting. So if you see this horrible reflection, my apologies. What's your best year ever for CPO, Marissa?
Last year was 429. I beat my
Man.
previous year by like $1,000. You
That's
guys,
one of my goals for our division, and if you don't know the origin of the podcast, as our listeners today, I did not go out on this mission to create a podcast. I just wanted to get guests to talk to our team because I thought our CSP growth was one of our biggest areas of opportunity for us in Indiana, and then I was like, holy cow, this is a podcast. So then we turned it into a podcast. But one of my main goals in 2026 to hit our divisional goals to have two CSPs do over 400K in business. So that's why we invite people like Marissa on and to our shows and all that good stuff. She was just in Indiana last week. Shout out whoever Marissa's DVM is as of right now she probably didn't even have to ask for permission, but for being so gracious with CPO splits and whatnot. It's not a given. Not all DVMs play nice. But I
great.
love it. I love it when a DVM is like, you know what, I want what's best for my CSP.
Yeah.
And then that way it all comes back, right? I'll tell you this much in Indiana, as far as shows go, there are better shows out there for our peeps to go run, and I'm always like, dude, go whatever's going to create the most CPO for you, and I think it's a win-win for everybody. Okay, last kind of beginning question here before we dive into specifics to you and your business. What's something in the works right now? Maybe it's an order that you're excited about. Maybe it's a program that you're new to or developing, or a relationship within the business or client that you're excited about right now. It hasn't happened yet, but like it's on the cusp.
Yeah, I think the program I'm most excited about is the business gift layer, and I've been mentoring with Joseph Rodriguez and on his team of people, which
Dude, he's a dog.
and I'm
He's
really
a
focusing on
dog.
the industry team, which is a higher risk but higher reward. And I love that Curtis, he's like, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. It's like just something I have to tell myself, but I'm like, maybe this is stupid, but I have to put myself. So one of my biggest focuses this year is to put myself in the best position to be in front of the best people possible at that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
So,
It's risk reward, right?
right. And just be in front of more business owners, in front of more big players, influencers, and focus really deeply on those relationships. And then the ones I already have, like not to take for granted those either. So I've been just really pouring into service and just into the relationship. That's where my superpower is. And I think I kind of lost it for a few years of just trying to hustle and do what other people were doing. And I'm kind of finding my lane again of like, I am like glue and just love, and I love people and relationships. And I'm just going to dig into that. And then I'm going to just really get in front of business owners. And because I ultimately want to have kids and do more with the fitness industry. And so I still want to have my Cutco business, but I want to be able to make phone calls and just keep those relationships going with the business gifts and realtor.
Yeah.
So I don't have to work as many shows except for a few that I really love, but not be just constantly from show to show hopping or doing 15-hour service events. I'd love to do like 8-hour service events and stuff like that. So just for my long-term lifestyle, I'm finding the grind right now. And for the next couple of years, I'm in build mode. But that's the layer I'm really refining. I'm trying to get as many at bats as possible, like practicing the approach, building those conversations, understanding industries, understanding how to serve these people at the highest level. So I am ready for those giant accounts. I've helped close one before. So I know I can do it. I just haven't had those, 50, 60, 70K accounts yet. And I'm excited for when those start adding to how I've elevated I'm like really good at the 2 to 4K orders. Like I sell a lot of those.
When you start popping 5-digit orders every now and then, it's a game changer, man.
Yeah,
it's a game changer.
So I'm pumped.
Not that I'm speaking from experience, by the way. I imagine it's a game changer. It brought up 3 questions as you were rambling in the most beautiful way possible about business gifts. I meant that in the best way possible because it's clear like that's folks, if you're something you're excited about. Yeah. And 3 questions that came up, I guess, realizations. One, you mentioned cost of industry events. I was just working through this with one of our team members who signed up for an industry event, and what it wasn't made clear, like, oh, that's how much it costs. And I my thought was, well, hey, cost and money can cause you to realize what you might be telling yourself you're prepared for, but you're actually not. Like that's when the rubber meets the road. So what would your feedback be for somebody who's like, oh, dang, I've got an industry event. I'm really nervous about it. And where does that nervousness come from? That nervousness comes from lack of experience and lack of preparation. What would your advice be for that person who's like, crap, I don't know if I'm ready for this?
Well, you're not going to be when you start anything new. You're going to it's like going to the gym for the first time. You've got to just go and show up and then look for the mentorship. The experts can help you look up, right? Like ask for help. And get the help where necessary, hire someone, and that's expensive too. But when you're leveling up anything, you have to invest in it, and it's going to be painful. And that's part of that pain is actually so necessary to grow and to learn. And I would say, so how I give myself a little bit more of that security, what I try to do is I plan like service events and other events that I know I'm really good at with the industry event. So that I can go to the industry event.
Oh, that insurance. I love it.
Right. So that I still have other layers going or some service calls, right? That I know I'm going to have sales that were other areas that are a lot more profitable to keep my income coming in while the industry event, whether it's profitable or not, that's a bonus, but I'm there for a very intentional reason. And that's to learn, to grow, to get the leads, to build the thing. And sometimes my profit will come from that event plus the extra follow-up. And sometimes it's just the follow-up. And my DVM, Nick Matlack, told me a long time ago, because I used to stress out or get very frustrated about an event not being profitable. And I think we can get caught up in that. Or a day, it's business. There's going to be days that are so I've also learned this too from owning a gym. It's a brick and mortar, right? So you have just fixed costs. And so
your overhead in the gym is a little bit different than the overhead in the Cutco business, right?
Right. It's a little different, but the concept's the same. Is not every day at that gym is going to be profitable, but should I close down that day because it's not bringing in the profit? No, it's still bringing in the profit from the overall open and being membership. So Nick said, look at your monthly profitability. not just your daily. And
Yes.
step
Yes.
back, because sometimes these things like won't make sense for a couple of years, but in 2 or 3, 4 years they build and they pop off and they're huge. But that's like we have to be patient and give the time. And that's why we can't just depend on weekend events as
Yes.
CSPs. We should have some service calls or service events throughout the
I
week
love asking
or
people like you
calls.
these
Yeah.
questions on the podcast because everything I want to say to my newer team members that are struggling, I'm like, well, dude, Marissa said it. So just, but I think that it reminds me of a Matthew Kelly quote. It might not be original to him, but he's basically like, the longer scope that you're responsible for, the more you're going to get paid. Meaning the drive-through worker at McDonald's makes minimum wage. They're responsible for a 60-second time period.
Yeah.
The shift manager at McDonald's gets paid whatever, $20 an hour because they are responsible for 8 hours of time. The GM of a McDonald's gets paid $100,000 a year because they're responsible for that quarter.
Yeah.
The franchise owner of that McDonald's makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because they're responsible for thinking in 3 to 5 years. And the owner of McDonald's makes millions, if not
Right.
billions of dollars per year because they're responsible for looking at decades. So what you're describing and looking and thinking of things in terms of months,
Yeah.
it takes the emotions out of it. The bad day is gone. We wouldn't look at like it like second by second. That's ridiculous, right? Like you would be such an emotional roller coaster. So if that's true, there is a line that makes sense beyond a day, and it's probably closer to a month or even a year at some points. The second thing that your answer to business gifts brought up was you said you realized the last couple of years you kind of lost yourself because you were what I heard was you were playing other people's games. You
Mm-hmm.
thought you maybe you I know this has happened to me where you see someone beating you. They're not running the business the way, by the way, shout out Benji Lehman on live, friend of the show. You realize that maybe somebody was beating you. And even though they weren't running the business the way you want to, you're like, you know what? I can't handle not selling as much. So I'm going to, I know this is what happens to me. I completely let my boundaries down and I make the business an idol in some ways and results in income an idol. And then before you know it, 6 months later, I'm like, why am I so upset and so unhappy, even though I'm getting results? What was that? Was there a moment? When did it hit you? There was like, I'm not playing Marissa Mayer's game and I need to go back to that.
Um, well, so I don't know if you, I mean, you may not know my whole story. I went to corporate America for a couple of years
Mhm.
to see if that ladder was for me. And I
Yes.
kept Cutco part-time. It was during COVID, actually. It worked out kind of well, but I was miserable in a 9 to 5 job. And it
Yep.
really wasn't. It was still sales, new business. So I was basically still grinding and I realized I was a workaholic because I am me. And I was like, I might as
Welcome
well
to
be a
the club,
workaholic for
man.
myself. So I left that after about 2 years on good terms. They said if I ever needed a job, they'd hire me back, but it was not my jam.
Yep.
But I came back to the business full time in 2021, and I think it was I saw all my friends just accelerate. Like, I mean, I was right there with like Calvin and Steven as far as like sales, and Chelsea was always a little bit ahead of us, but with her realtor program being so far accelerated. But I saw my in Carlton, I was beating him, and then they went from like 2 to 300K reps to like 5 to 700K reps in like
Mm.
2 years, and I was like, oh, like this is really the opportunity. I think I kind of stepped back too soon. Like maybe I could have, because I just felt like I couldn't work harder. I was just like frustrated with where I was and just a lot of things. And so I came back, and so I was trying to just be a little sponge and learn from everybody. Like, just you don't know anything except for how to work hard,
If
which is
somebody
great. But
struggles with that humility, because
yes.
it exists, I'm included sometimes. If someone struggles with that humility, which you were clearly able to find, of learning from others, especially those that started after you, or
Mhm.
or younger, or whatever the case may be, um, what is somebody that's going, I struggle with that. I know I struggle with that. I would never say it out loud, but I do. What do you think they need to hear?
Like struggle being humble or struggle like
Struggle being
too humble.
humble enough to be like, I don't have it all figured out. I need to listen to this person. They're better than me, even though they haven't been around as long or whatever.
Um, I would say like there's like a dichotomy here of where we need a balanced confidence also with like openness to learning. But as we are open to learning, we can swing too far of just trying to take everything from everybody else. It's like when we're new reps and we're just trying to like
Yes.
apply everything. And I would say it's just for me, it's like go through the information, but then get very focused on like one thing. Um,
Yes.
that way your brain can actually just like focus on it and apply it properly versus trying to apply like 15 different things at the same time. So like that's why business gifts is my sole focus and actually has been for like 2 or 3 years. That doesn't mean I haven't gotten better at cookware. I haven't gotten better at flatware and other stuff that I've been like open to.
Yeah.
Um,
But you
but
haven't made it your main thing. It's like, hey, if those things happen organically, cool, but it's not what I'm putting all my time and energy into. And it's shown. I mean, you're at, correct me if I'm wrong, you're over 50K on the year in business gifts in the first 3 months of the year. There are a lot of people in the last year or two that have said, I'm going to make business gifts, Cutco gifting, my thing. I'm going to put time and energy into it. And maybe they haven't seen the growth that you've experienced so far. I have one word from all of them. Help.
yeah, no,
Help. So
yeah.
what's the keys to actually making the jump and not continuing to kick it down the road and saying, well, I'll get to it next week, or I know I should be spending X amount of hours on it per week, but I'm in show season. And if you're still tracking and categorizing all your own expenses, I have a message from your CPA. Stop. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are your goals include growing your sales. And one way to do that is delegating admin responsibilities by trading time for money. Rising Stock and MyBooks.pro is exactly what you need. Rising Stock is an all-encompassing financial tracking and coaching program where MyBooks.pro is exactly what it sounds like. They just do your books. You can choose to just have them track your expenses or take advantage of everything they have to offer. Do your business and your CPA a favor by scheduling a free intro call today at linktree/CSP60. That's linktr.ee/CSP60. That's linktree/CSP60 with a dot before the two E's. And this is making me money now and I can't afford, the
Yeah.
excuses. What is
By
it?
the way,
What
I've
changed?
made all the same and I still feel like I'm behind where it should be. Like that if I'm just super honest, I'm like, man,
Well, I
I'm
wasn't going to
doing this
say
now for a
anything,
year.
but I'm just kidding.
But yeah. But what I am very excited about and now just focused on is just progress and the little things. And again, it's just like one thing at a time. And if other stuff improve, great. But my and then it's like comical because there's some stuff that works at a certain level. And then once you get to a higher level, you have to like resystemize or like figure that out too. And then you're like, crap, this feels like a catapult pulling back to go forward.
Yes.
And you're like, here it is again. And there I am making excuses when really some of it's like actual hangups and obstacles, right? So
Sure.
I would say like, yes, get mentorship of someone who's doing it the way you want to do it. The reason I've picked Joseph is he also loves the lifestyle and has other things that he does and enjoys. And that's
I
he
think
has like,
that's something that we don't talk about a lot
yeah,
is that don't just pick the person who's getting the results you want, pick the person that has the life outside of the business that
right.
you desire to have. And that doesn't mean you can't learn from somebody who's running the business differently than you. You can
Yeah.
pull little things here and there, but I think to like as something as intimate as coaching, I think picking the person that you're like, you know what, I don't just want their Cutco business. I would trade their lifestyle as well. I think that's really, really, really important. By the way, you used the word dichotomy earlier. Watch the big words. I dropped out of college. Okay. So the subtitle of the book is what you should have learned in business school. They might actually teach it senior year of business school. I wouldn't know. I wasn't there. Okay. Let's get into,
Dichotomy just means two very opposite things kind of coexisting at the same time. It's like yin and yang. It's like,
you know what? I knew it was a confusion. I knew it was like hey, it causes confusion. That was enough for me. I ran with it. Now you don't just run your Cutco business. We mentioned before, you've got another one. You've got the gym and maybe some other. Tell us a little bit about how you balance that because I know there's CSPs where I think most high level CSPs aspire someday to have their business turn into, what are my 3, 4, 5 big shows, whatever that means for them in their channel. And then marketing and past customer follow up. Like, can I make 6 figures, 250 on that alone someday, and then create the open space to start another business? Tell us about that. I hate the word balance. but I'm going to use it because I feel like that's the easiest to understand where we're going for the listeners. Like, how do you balance that? Um, how do you get it done? How do you do both and not sacrifice the main thing?
Um, well, it's just keeping the main thing as like a priorities or priorities in order of like this is just how it goes. But I also like the word harmony because harmony
Mm,
speaks more like music, which is like frequencies of sound and frequencies of movement. And so it's more like a frequency of like, yes, this is a work season, this is a play season or a time of work rest. Like it's not every day isn't going to look perfectly divided
yeah,
and even like a balancing act. It's just sometimes you've got to pivot from one side to the other
yeah.
um, to create like that flow and a really good place. And so since I've thought of it that way, that's helped a lot.
Have you ever surfed? Have you ever gone surfing?
I have gone surfing like twice. I'm more of a snowboarder because
So,
I'm
oh, okay.
mountains, but
Snowboarding is a good
there's
example
similarities.
too.
Yes. Yeah.
But I know in my small experience surfing, if I could stand up for more than 5 seconds, to stay
But
up, it's constantly moving my balance.
yep.
I'm constantly, okay, I need to shift left foot, right foot, back, forward, whatever. And I think you're describing a lot like that, where I just respond to the areas that are needed as they're needed. What have you learned during that process, and what advice do you have for CSPs that do aspire to have a second business someday? So
Yeah.
things that you're like, hey, I got this right away, and things that you're like, oh, it would have been nice to know about that one.
Yeah. I think a lot of the skills from branching really helped, to be honest. And then
Love
also
it.
just experience within business and exposure to other business knowledge, thoughts, and leaders because I go to lots of conferences between even realtor program. Like there's stuff I'm exposed to and they talk about with business leverage and leveling up. And I've done Tony Robbins stuff and then just a bunch of other learning. So personal growth and just like expanding who you are at the highest level. I mean, it's just what we talk about all the time here at Cutco. Um, but I would say leveraging out to people and delegating is probably the most important thing I've learned from Cutco, which is crazy to me that so many CSPs still struggle with paying an assistant. Like I could not do what I do without assistant help. And as soon as I have seen that I have a pattern of I'm not doing this thing, I just hire someone. Like
Yeah.
I'm tired of fighting it. Like, and so
Where's the
it's
hang
one of
up?
the,
Because I feel like on the management side, it's so natural and we all do
right.
that like before it even makes sense to, and it just works out. And then on the CSP side, I feel there's a lot of resistance
Yeah.
to spending money on something like an assistant or even a VA, which
Yeah.
is very, very, very cheap. So what's something that a CSP out there that's like, I'm holding it all together, but I still miss quite a bit of stuff because my business has grown so much. I'm still trying to do it all on my own. Do you have any testimonial, anything to help them kind of get in that mindset where this could be additive and actually help them grow in less effort?
Yeah. So my first person I hired was years ago. I actually hired a receptionist from one of the managers who wanted more hours.
Heck yeah, man. You want leads, by the way? Managers have tons of leads for you for
Yeah.
assistants. I can promise you that.
That was how I did my first like 26K um SC2, which back then was a decent number.
Yeah.
Nowadays that oh, you sneeze and you should be doing that. But I guess this was back when I branched actually, and because I was busy still running my team and I couldn't get enough phone calls in, but I had the appointment slots. I had the receptionist, she called pink sheets for me
Mm.
and then booked service calls for me. Um, and that was like one of the most profitable, rewarding things I've ever
It was
done.
probably
Uh,
eye-opening for you
yeah,
moving forward.
it was. And so I've just I leverage out the things I have the hangups on, right? So I have a hard time with getting my stupid engraving instructions done. I know that's like dumb. I have like ADHD and there's just certain little tasks that like
Yeah.
it takes me a while to finally sit down to do. I don't enter stuff into my CRM. I'm too busy. I get leads all the time. I'm really great at
You're
prospecting
just
and
really honest with yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I just hire people to do the stuff that like don't figure out how to make the time with. It's like that stuff that you've been procrastinating because of perfectionism or like you're like, "Oh, I'm going to get to this eventually." Shoot. I had my best friend come over while I was gone and just put my clothes away, like hang them up and fold them. I do not fold my laundry. I do not cook right now. I love cooking, but I don't have time to grocery shop. So I have someone meal prep for me. So I eat healthy and always have healthy food available and snacks. I go to Costco maybe once a month to get some other healthy things to fill in some of the gaps. But like I hire out anything that I need that time for because I would rather use that time to train than to go to the grocery store and pick up stuff. And I don't have the same day every week that would be free for meal prep. So instead of fighting it, as much as I love it, I'd love to make videos for my business with cookware, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Screw it. I can get food every day on Monday from my meal prep guy. He's hired. Like $10.
I think
like it's so much cheaper than me trying to figure out last minute what food to get.
There are people who overspend, and you know who you are. If you're there right now and you're overspending out of laziness, not talking to you. Right. But a vast majority of the people listening, you're viewing everything as an expense instead of an investment. Right. You need to look at things as a net. What's the net effect? Meaning, yes, Marisa's not making cookware videos for her customers because she's not cooking, but because she's not, and she's paying somebody to cook for her, her net effect is she has more time to spend on the big rocks of her business that are creating way more CPO than whatever that would be doing. You got to look at everything, and don't look at everything as forever. Like, right. Try it out. And if within 2 weeks you're like, nope, this isn't working, then slow to hire, quick to fire. Like, it's fine. Put it on hold and come back to it. I'm beginning to understand more and more based on the questions that I get and the answers that we receive that, man, if you're a CSP and you are not actively utilizing some sort of assistant, you're leaving a lot of CPO on the table, and you're probably stressed.
Yeah, you're probably stressed. I would say don't be afraid to fail. Fail forward, right? You want to fail and learn those lessons quickly. Exactly what you're saying. Like it's because it only takes one or two of those things to work to just continue to like let you sail and fly. Yep. And then there's a lot of stuff's not going to work, and then you just got to like cut it. So actually, Rob has an assistant who does a great job for him, phone calls and helps book his schedule. It's totally worth the money. I actually got the same assistant to make phone calls for me, and I was not organized enough yet, didn't have the list ready. Like, I actually didn't even have the room and capacity in my schedule to do those appointments. Like, it was just a mess, but I was like, I need help calling because I'm not making the calls, and I need help following up. And it didn't work, and I had to fire that because it was just a huge expense that was, like, draining me. But then there's other ones like people helping me with my engraving instructions, proofs, and all that other stuff for the business gift to streamline that and make that experience better on the back end is stuff that has really helped me. I still probably will get a phone call assistant very soon. I actually have another assistant. She does all my like local stuff. Yep. And she enters in my leads for the residential side, helps me send factory instructions. All those little emails that you're not sending on follow-up, just have someone else do it. Make a canned response and then label all your leads and then have them send it. Because if you're not sitting down and doing the admin work, just like have someone else do it. So it gets done. Done is better than perfect every day of the week.
And let me even take it a step further. If you're like, but Marisa, I don't even have the time to make the canned responses. Pay an assistant, go through all your emails and create the canned responses for you. Like literally they can do anything. They can do anything. You just have to set the proper expectations of what
buy that stuff from Vast Action for like a time fee and then have it forever. So, and then you can edit it. Whatever.
Shout out VA.
There's also ChatGPT. ChatGPT is like your friend when it sucks. So like
it's too good.
You're stuck. Just use it.
Yeah. I've been told one of your superpowers, to switch gears a little bit, is networking. What do you feel like? One of the comments that was made by one of our team members was, you're just attracting good people and good vibes. What do you do to create that habit? Why do you think that you're good at it? You looked a little surprised. Were you surprised that it was noticed, or surprised because you had never considered your ability to network?
Yeah, I don't really call it networking, I guess. Like I call it like
this might be the best answer, by the way. What do you call it?
That's why I call it like relationships. Like I just care about people, because whenever I hear networking, I think of those happy hours they do that they're like, come to our networking event, and those give me literally cringy ick. Like I hate them. I don't like networking.
But step one is you don't view it as networking. You view it as making friends, you're
Yeah.
relationship building, and
Yeah.
that's probably why you feel so comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And that's probably what some people who cringe at networking are like, yeah, so do I. So do
Right.
I. What are some best practices with that? Why do you think you're great at it?
Um, I just think it's because I care. Like it's just and I'm compassionate and empathetic and I understand a lot of people where they're at. And I guess just I love people. Like I like to just really know who they are, their true like heart, what drives them, what they
Mhm.
really want, and I want to help them get what they want. So um one big reason I got my level 1, which is my coaching certification for CrossFit, was I wanted to be the best athlete I could be and take this as far as I could, but then I wanted to take as many people with me as wanted to for their own goals, like wherever they want to go. So um I don't I think maybe because it's maybe just natural.
Yeah.
And so I think if you struggle, just work on like listening and understanding people and asking questions and curiosity and then connecting. Um, I think sometimes we can swing too much to just listening and you don't want to talk about yourself. But part of that connecting is you also still need to talk about yourself and talk about where you relate
Yeah.
so that people feel that vulnerability, that sharing. People appreciate that a lot
Yep.
more than I think. Um, so it's just the dichotomy, the 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 coexisting of
I'm saving it now.
vulnerable.
I'm getting us t-shirts that say the dichotomy.
Yes, yeah. There's a book called The Dichotomy of Leadership, and that's the one that it's by Jocko Willink. It's his second book after
Nice.
his first one, which, oh shoot, the first one was the crazy one that he's just like, um, anyways, look
He
up
has one of
Jocko.
my favorite social media
Oh,
snippets
Extreme Leadership.
ever. Yep,
Yeah.
extreme ownership is what I said.
Ownership. That's what but I like
Um,
the second book because I take extreme ownership to weaponize against me. And then the
ah,
second book talked about, hey, actually, we need to talk about this because you can weaponize it and you should not. It's a dichotomy of
got it.
things that exist at the same time, and you need to just learn to accept the
I love
balance
I love
of
your answer because
yeah,
it's not a cookie cutter, and there's time and place for
yeah,
strategy, do this, say this, whatever.
yeah.
But your answer was so genuine, and what I realized was when I was younger, I was scared to because, and here's the reason why, that I didn't have life experience, so I didn't feel like I could relate. So if you're
Right.
there and you're going, man, I really struggle networking, building relationships, and feeling authentic, well, you need to go out and do more stuff and just try. One of the best builders of relationships I've ever met is my brother-in-law Remington. Shout out Rem, friend of the show, and he literally will just try stuff. Like it's ready, fire, aim for him. So he bought a cottage on a lake and needed a boat. If he has driven a boat, it's been like, sure, I'll sit on your lap, Grandpa, and drive the boat. Okay, so like that's his experience to my knowledge, really driving a boat, maybe a little bit more. So he buys a boat, gets it in the water, and literally does not know. He literally starts the boat, and the second he gets going, it just guns straight up in the air because
Oh no.
he doesn't understand the angle of the. But within 30 minutes, guess who knew how to drive a boat? Him. So that's the attitude of somebody who's a great networker is let me just go try a bunch of stuff. Who cares if I suck at it? I'm gonna be able to relate to so many more people because of it. And not to say that's the reason that he or anybody does it, but I think there's correlation there. I know that word. Uh, Anything on your quote unquote never do this list when it comes to building relationships?
Oh, I don't know like anything that comes like straight to mind. I'm trying to think. I don't know if some of it's like appropriate to share.
Oh, as soon as you laughed, I said, "This is the pot." Listen, this is a
Don't vector connect.
this is no time out. This is a Cutco high five podcast. Like, hey, they were like, "Yeah, Brett, go ahead. We love it."
Yeah,
But it is
yeah,
not a it is a Cutco endorsed
yeah,
podcast. It is not a Cutco podcast. So
yeah,
we're here for the real
yeah.
answers. Don't you worry. What's on the list?
Um, I so my biggest things have actually come from people who I trusted and loved and poured into, and then they just like decided not to be friends anymore or left me. Um, for whatever reason that I still probably don't even know. Like I tried to make resolution, have some hard conversations that those are not naturally easy for me. But I would say do have the hard conversations because you'll see who's truly your friend and who's not. I have a hard time like letting go of people when they don't want to be my friend anymore or have a relationship that's important. And so that's still something I'm navigating. And so I wouldn't say like don't okay, I guess here's where this boils down to. Do not continue to give to the people who will not also pour back into you. And that's not to be selfish. And you can still pour before you get poured into, as you should. A lot of times as a leader or networking, you need to do that. But when it is very clear that someone doesn't want anything to do with you anymore, let go. Like let them is something that like Mel Robbins talks about, and there's some other stuff out there that has been coming out. It's just kind of and I still have a hard time. Like there's still people who I'd be dishonest if I said it didn't still hurt my feelings, like what they've done to me, or I maybe did something and still have no idea what I did and I wish I could resolve it. And so, but the quicker you can let go and release that, there's a book called like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
we have a bleep button. Don't worry.
Okay, good. And I love that book so much because it helps you really filter what's important to give about or not. And so I would highly recommend that book. Has helped me. I probably need to revisit it. But you can kind of care too much and then you cannot care enough. And so it's kind of finding that balance of where your boundaries are.
And I think it's so important because bad behavior needs to have consequences.
Right.
You can create boundaries for yourself if you find somebody is totally taking advantage of your kindness. And then also what you're describing is, forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation, meaning like you can try to reconcile, but maybe that's not in the cards and that's not your fault. The only thing we own is the forgiveness side of it. And if I can forgive that person, it frees me. It doesn't mean that it's going to reconcile the relationship, but that's not on.
And honestly, there's some you shouldn't. Like some you should let go. You guys are both not good for each other, or one's not good for the other. And it is okay. And when you can make peace with that and then just focus on the ones that care and continue to show up. And I love what you said earlier. It's seasons, right? It's not everything is forever. There are some people that are just meant to be there in certain seasons. There's some people that are part of your roots and who are going to anchor you through your hardest times and cheer for you through your best times. But it's like I saw a tree imagery once on like your friendships. You have your roots. You even have some people in that foundational kind of like, I guess, stump. And then like there's the branches, but sometimes branches have to fall off. And the leaves are like the short term, they come and go. They're people you meet.
But what happens to the rest of the branches when you cut a few bad ones off?
Working with Trent Booth and the Veritas Leadership Group over the last decade has unlocked things within me that I never knew existed until they were coached out of me. If you're listening and you feel stuck or like you have another gear that you're having a hard time getting to, Trent's offering a free intro call to any of our listeners. I love Veritas because it's an amazing combo of mentoring and coaching. I get what I need when I need it most. It's also a flat monthly rate, which is awesome for anyone looking to give it a shot with no contract and no long-term commitment. Schedule a call with Trent today by going to linktree/CSP60. That's linktr.ee/CSP60. That's linktree/CSP60 with a dot before the two E's.
Oh, they thrive even more. Right? And so that's like been such a huge thing for me of it stinks that was a seasonal person and I thought they were going to be a forever person, but just it's accepting and moving forward each time. But all you can control is your own actions and how much love you pour into things. And if you do your best and then there's just a point that it ends and doesn't work, just don't force it, I guess.
And I think what you're describing too leads into my next question, because you talk like basically when you cut off those bad branches that are maybe energy suckers, you only have a total 100% of your energy. And if you've got energy going into branches that lead to nowhere, there's less energy for the rest of them. Whereas if you cut those off when necessary, that energy's got to go somewhere, and it's going to go into your good relationships. And you came and worked Indiana State Fair, and one of the things that stuck out to our team was your relentless work ethic, your ability to work long days, go back to back. How do you manage that energy? I'm sure your workout routine and your nutrition has a lot to do with it as well. If you're away from home, though, when it's easy to break your daily routine and get out of your habits, how do you make sure that you manage your energy well?
This is a great topic, and I think is probably the reason I've become so successful in the last few years, but it's not been an overnight process. Like it took me a while because that was extremely frustrating, having very high goals as an athlete and then and performance at the booth. So I basically just learned to throw the excuses out and again just keep trying and keep refining and keep making better. So on the health wellness continuum, the top priority is actually sleep. And so you can only do so much without sleep and in a sleep deficit. And so I keep my priorities in line. So if I'm going to get enough sleep, then I also still get my workout in. I always do what I can to make sure my nutrition is going to give me fuel and energy, not detract from that. That means I have to eat enough, especially with my training and activity. And a lot of people think and some people should be fasting or whatever, but I need a lot of food to function right and to have my brain working right.
You're not going to believe this, by the way, on the sleep. Literally, my post today at 8 a.m. from my book was the older I get, the more I have to face reality when it comes to this. I cannot replace sleep. I could be stressed out, upset, anxious. Everything could be going wrong. After a good night's sleep, the way I look at everything changes. Problems seem to go away. The worries of yesterday just aren't as potent as they were just a few hours ago. Sleep fixes so much. People that ignore sleep to go work out, you're literally jumping over $100 bills to pick up a quarter. That's what you're describing, right?
Yeah.
So sleep, number one. You said nutrition. You're right. Every body, meaning our physical body, is different. Some people, it's fasting. For you, you found something a little bit different nutritionally.
Yeah, I have to eat constantly. Benji joked, he's like, how are you so skinny or thin and fit and you eat all the time? Well, it's because I eat all the time, because I would gain more weight when I ate less, but that's just because I wasn't eating to support my activity level.
Yeah.
And so that's where having like a coach helps a lot on this. But I've just learned ways to I've tracked my food at different times and I know how to kind of intuitively eat for that and like have enough protein, enough vegetables, fruits. And that doesn't mean I don't enjoy, like Rob and I go get a treat sometimes. And like, I enjoy some things.
When it's the exception, not the rule, you can do it unapologetically, not feel guilty about it. And what you're describing with, I know for me, I've experienced this. And I think I've seen a lot of people as well. We fall into the trap of just playing the calorie game and we might lose weight, but we're skinny fat. It's not about the weight. It's about how you feel. It's about your energy, your strength, you're not getting injured. Like, just because you feel skinny doesn't mean you're maximizing your health. I would say that's actually I need a college word here. Vanity. That's a very vanity perspective of just looking at weight. It's not about the weight. It's about the energy that comes with it. And then, dude, I know when I'm on it, it's so awesome to enjoy a Dairy Queen, Snickers, Blizzard, and not feel guilty about it. Like it's
I think we feel less guilty when we're like overall just healthy and your body is still resistant to the sickness and to and you're able to just continue to thrive or have energy when maybe you wouldn't expect to. And I think some of that dip in energy is because of a lack of food, not because of and we have to be really careful with what we drink too, because the calories that we could think we're in a calorie deficit, but based on what we're drinking can add a lot of calories very, very quickly that are empty and not actually fueling your body. And so I would say just focusing on whole, real foods is the best thing you can do. So that's why I meal prep, or I have someone else meal prep for me. If I can't do that and I'm traveling, I go straight to a grocery store, buy like cottage cheese, Greek yogurts, and then like little like the prosciutto and salami.
What's the name of the little
jerky?
The little container guys that's really popular on the events teams that will heat stuff up You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
Hot Logic. Those things are like my
I've heard
hero.
those are game changers. For
They
me,
are.
almost every single week of the year, I'm going to Costco and getting two things. I'm getting a huge salmon that's already got
Yep.
the back off of it, and then I'm getting a bunch of top sirloin medallions. I'm smoking the medallions. I am putting the salmon on the Blackstone, and that's every single lunch for the entire week, every week.
Love it.
And I think that and it tastes amazing.
It does.
It tastes so good. It's great. Okay, let's get behind the booth for just a second. Um, question was brought up. Your keys to maintaining a high closing ratio at the
Mhm.
booth to keep Chelsea Rodriguez happy without killing your average order to keep the Brandon Browns of the world happy. What is the key to maintaining both of those, both the high average order but not killing high closing ratio but not killing your average order?
Learning the dance of when to slow down and speed up, which comes from experience. But taking a deep breath, asking questions, getting to know the person, and then what's even possible for their threshold that day of how much time they have to give to you, and what you can pitch them. And then I really love like Matt Graves. He said in his average order talk, he goes, you can have 9 single piece orders, and it's the 10th order that gets you over $1,000 average order. So that helped me because I was like, man, why do I close so much? But then like half the time it's like a Shears discounted 10% or this or that. And I think average orders of a fool's chase because it's very deceptive. Everyone's going to have the paring knives, the shears, the individual items. It's just how many of those can you turn into 5 pieces, and how many of those big orders, like how can you make them bigger?
Yeah.
So
I think that's one thing most, at least new CSPs, don't spend enough time on is they try to turn one paring knife into 2 and double,
right.
but they don't spend any time turning a $3,000 order into a $4,000 order, which is mentally easier to do.
Yeah.
Than doubling an order. So it's oh my gosh, instead of going, I'm so excited, I just sold $3,000. I just sold $3,000 and let's find a win-win to make it a $4,000 or $5,000 order. Should be the right response. Okay, so wanted to ask you this. You've openly talked about some pretty, at least with our team, some severe challenges you faced over the years. And I wanted to know like what lessons you learned while growing through some of those, but also what did you do well to get through them in the first place? And I know what it looks like from the outside looking in for everybody. It's always looks better because we're great hiders at what's really going on than what's behind. So I get that. But what has, I mean, gosh, you've really found some positions to thrive here in the last few years while having some really great challenges.
Well, one, it was just learn to be present in the day of just, I have to get through today, right? Or 1 hour. I'm a planner naturally, so that was like not easy for me to do. I like to like have my whole year planned and I'm going to this place and have these shows lined up. It gives me some sort of peace of mind within our business. But it was also like letting go and just letting each day be its day. And if I lost out on an opportunity, because we have like a power team and I don't get to work all the events I love to work and in my own area. So it's frustrating. And so instead of just pouting about it or being angry or complaining, it was digging into where my opportunities actually were and what doors were opening when other stuff closed. So it's just like finding and just trusting that what is meant for me is going to happen. So like if something isn't going to work out or there's a conflict of schedules or it just didn't work out the same way that it was successful in the years past, it's just being excited for what is going to work out and just like reminding myself, oh, it's going to be fine. It's going to work out. That actually came from the CrossFit Games last year. We had an athlete die the first day. We paid $9,000 for our 10x10 booth. There was 3 of us working and people thought I was crazy for doing it. And I was just like, oh my goodness, when it happened, I just had panic set in because they just canceled the day. We didn't know if we were going to go back the next day, if the games were going to go on, if they were going to cancel it. There were so many things up in the air. And Matt Tushin was just like, Marissa, it's going to be okay. It's all going to work out great. And I was just like, what happened to me? Like, where did my faith go? Like, I have just been living in survival mode so long because of all the crazy stuff that kept flying at me. And one more bad thing after another would just keep happening, like stuff I couldn't control. And I was just like, Lord, what am I doing to attract this? Like, all I'm doing is trying to like help people and give. And I like can't even pay my own bills. Like, I was just going through a lot of stuff. And it was like I couldn't work hard enough to figure it out or fix everything. And so this was like a very scary moment. But I just remembered to go back to faith, not fear, as my mentality. So I have to check myself a lot on that. It's really easy to get into fear mode or scarcity. It's natural. It's what our brains do for survival.
Yep.
But to focus on faith, life is happening for me, not to me. So even the bad things are going to lead to great things or open up positive things. And to just trust that and to truly surrender to God. I mean, like, my faith has grown massively the last few years, and just surrender to his plan. Romans 8:28 is an anchor scripture for me. It's that God works for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. And I love the two parts of that. It's like, I am called according to my purpose that he has made me for. And he's also going to take care of me, and all the bad things are still going to work for my good. And I have to just trust that. So if it's not good yet, I'm just going through it, and I just have to keep taking one step at a time, and there will be another side to it. And then, so it's just constantly checking my mindset on that. And then, I would say that that's probably like the biggest, and then leaning into my support system and people that God has put in my life, because, and I really just acknowledge the people who've been there for me through the thick of it. And then those who are cheering me on when I'm having my breakthroughs or my good stuff happening too. So, just the ones who, are there for me when I'm crying or need someone just to talk to or talk off a ledge. And I had to lean into that a lot more the last few years because of the depth of the situations I was in.
We talked about your humility earlier, and it's no surprise that you have found so much humility in your business, because in my experience, when I don't have any and God gives me opportunities to have it, and I don't even swing, let alone swing and miss, he's like, oh, well, let me put you in a situation where you have no other option. Because it's happening. And if you're listening and you aren't a Jesus lover yet, here's what that means too. When Marisa says, everything for your good, that doesn't mean that Marisa gets what she wants all the time. In fact, many times it means she gets the exact opposite, but didn't realize, oh, that's actually what I needed. It's an understanding and a realization that I don't control anything. I control nothing. And there's something extremely freeing and helpful about that. Thanks so much for sharing, because my next to last question was, I understand you're a woman of faith and you love Jesus. Wanted to see how that influences the way you run your business, and I think we got our answer. So last question for you. And feel free to take a second to think if you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can ramble until you get your thoughts. What's something that I should have asked you today that would have helped out our team more?
Oh, man. That's a great question. I feel like you asked so many good questions that led places that I didn't know, especially with your team even better than I do, although I love a lot of them. It's been fun to get to know them.
Here's what I'll say. I know what they let me know. You've been in the booth with them. You know the things that they're like not going to tell Brett about this one. Or just the CSP community in general. It doesn't have to be the Hoosier team.
So I think we as CSPs, and I struggle with this too, is I swing really hard into the humility side sometimes, and I'm not confident enough, or I question when I'm doing a lot at the booth, or if I'm saying the right things, or if, I could have just said this way, I would have closed it. I would just really encourage your team and anybody else out there to, at the booth, just pitch that crap out. You can think about that outside of the booth, and you can rewrite your scripts. You can work on writing stuff. You can practice with your teammates. But the booth, you are there to serve customers. And who cares if you're on a stupid script or not? They don't. And nobody knows how much money they've got except for them. And so just treat everybody with love, respect, have fun with them, be yourself. Take what you can from what you've learned recently. If something serves you, or you can ask a question, or you think of something to say at some point, or you just learned something about the flat where you're excited to share it. But do not beat yourself up about what you did wrong. or get too excited about what you did right. Because sometimes it's luck, straight up.
Yeah, dude. Amen, man.
And you know what? We need all that. We all need some of that luck. Like, we've been doing this a while. We deserve every little bit we get. Luck is just when opportunity meets preparation, right?
Yeah.
And so do not get too high when you do something awesome, and do not get too low when it's just 3 paring knives on the day or a goose egg. Because guess what? I'm on pace for 500 to 700K this year, and I still have goose egg days, even at a booth at a great event. Like, it just happens. And so, but you cannot weaponize that against yourself or your abilities. Time and CPO are unrelated, as what we say at TGP. I almost like to flip that on its head, is that time and CPO are related in the fact that when I put the work in, it's going to come from somewhere. I'm going to get a call for a homemaker, or a call for a business gift, or call for this if I have some bad days in the booth. Like, I'm going to get a lead that may not produce fruit today, but is like, there is something that comes out of that work every day. And I just have to lean into that and trust that, instead of get negative on myself of, oh, I just suck, or I'm not good enough. And I think your team, from what I've observed, they just need confidence in their abilities. They've been doing this a while. Some of them are very talented. They just do not trust in their abilities. They just think that they don't trust in the process enough. They don't trust in the patience enough, and they don't trust in themselves enough.
And what that trust in the process and belief in your own abilities, it creates consistency. And I think that's what you're really describing, is a lack of consistency, whether there's results or not results, staying the course, staying focused on the actions. And, we're so lucky to have people like you on. We're in such a unique situation because no one's required to give back. Most of our leaders do. We got quite a few listeners who are not Cutco reps. They're just salespeople from across the country, and a lot of sales leaders that aren't even in my organization. If we worked somewhere else, and I said, "Hey, can you hop on for an hour to just hang out and answer questions so my team can get better?" They'd be like, "Cool. Like, what's in it for me?" We got a chance to get time this month at our leadership brunch while you're in town. And what stuck out to me, Marisa, was your desire to improve the business. Some insecure, even myself at one point in my career, and even at times now, leaders are intimidated by people who challenge the status quo and put themselves on the line for the betterment of the team. But that's what I see you doing unapologetically. And you own your situation. Anytime I push back on any thoughts you have, you're like, no, I know, I understand. I'm the one who makes the decisions for myself. But you also continue to press the envelope to make things better for others, and specifically women in our business who desire to start a family someday. So I appreciate the questions that you ask. I appreciate the ideas that you bring. I think they matter big time. Don't stop doing that. And thank you so much for just sharing today. It's going to have a tremendous impact, way more than just this one podcast episode. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored, and that's my goal. I want to help and inspire. And
well, I mean, now that you are getting invited on other business podcasts, we might never see you again. I don't know. We gotta up our listenership to meet Marisa Sanders. If you enjoyed today, be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications from your favorite platforms so you don't miss the 15 minutes of flames version of this episode, or our next 60 minutes of fire, which will start back up after summer, because we aren't done with new episodes until after summer. I got to do my real job and run the division, run the office. 15 minutes of flames will be dripping out weekly to you from Peyton Keller, Brandon Brown, Kristen Stayback, Brian Carter, Matt Foss, Patton Sides, Anastasia Esquivel, and then finally this one to officially wrap up our spring season. If you don't know what 15 minutes flames are, it is the best 15 minutes of every episode that we have. So it has been so much fun so far in 2025. We are just getting started. Help us grow by sharing your favorite episode links on your social media. And be sure to give us a 5-star review on every platform you've got if you love what we're building here on the CSP Hot Hands. If you ever want to send somebody all of our platforms at once, just send them linktr.ee/listen, the number 2, and then CSP. So that's linktree/listen, the number 2, and then CSP, and it'll have Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that good stuff. Thank you, by the way, Dan Cassetta and Gilbert Gonzalez for all the Western region swag I'm wearing today. You're awesome, and I appreciate you, and I didn't even have to think about getting dressed today. We'll see you guys next time. Have fun. Thanks for listening, and for some of you watching, I want to remind you that all resources from today can be found at linktree/CSP60. That's linktr.ee/CSP60. That's linktree/CSP60 with a dot before the EE. If you want to be a member of our live Zoom audience for one of our upcoming shows, email bwiggins@vectormarketing.com. That's BWIGGINS@vectormarketing.com. If you loved what you heard today, I'd be honored if you followed, subscribed, or even rated us on whatever platform you use to find your 60 minutes of fire. We'll see you next time.